Next, we're going to learn H and K. They are very similar to the L. That's why we're learning them next. In fact, if you look at them, those handles on the top of the H and the K, those are L's, and you make them just about exactly the same way. You can also notice that those two letters are very similar to each other, so it makes sense to learn them at the same time. So let's get started. So here's my bottom line, my middle line, and my top line. I'm going to start the H by essentially making an L. The only difference is I'm not going to curve it at the bottom. I'm going to go straight on down, and I'm not going to make that little tail. So I'm going to point to the bottom line. I'm going to glide up to the top line, loop back just a little bit, head straight on down. Now I'm going to trace back up to the middle line, make a hill, and now a tail. That's H. Point to the bottom line, glide up to the top line, loop back and go straight down, trace back up to the middle line, make a hill and a tail. That tracing is very important. You don't want to space in there at all. In fact, you shouldn't even be able to see that you were on that line twice. This is what it will look like if you forget the tracing. You see that gap right there? So this is not what you want. You want to make sure that you trace back up. So glide up to that top line, loop and go straight down to the bottom, trace right back up to the middle line, make a hill and a small tail. One more time. Trace up, make a hill and a small tail. Okay. Now K is essentially the same with one extra little part before you go down to make your tail. So you're going to point to the bottom line, glide up to that top line, loop and go straight down to the bottom, trace back up, and instead of making a hill, you're going to kick in and then kick out. This little piece right in there should be very pointed, right? Not curved at all. Don't curve in and out. Make sure it's got a pointy part. In fact, if that's giving you trouble, you can sometimes solve that problem by doing this. Glide up to the top line, loop back and go straight down to the bottom. Trace back up, kick all the way in until you touch, and then kick back out. These both work as the letter K. It's up to you which one you decide is the best for you. So point to that bottom line, glide up to the top line, loop back down, straight to that bottom line, trace back up to the middle line, kick in and out. Let's do one more. Okay. Now I'll show you them small, although remember, I don't recommend practicing them small right away. Practice them big until your hand gets really comfortable with the motions. Remember, I need to imagine that middle line when I'm just using this as my line instead of 3. Point to the bottom, glide up to the top, loop back to the bottom, trace to the imaginary middle, make a hill and a tail. That's an H. K is the same. Glide up to the top, loop and go straight down to the bottom, trace back up to the imaginary middle, kick in, and then out. All right, now this is the fun part. Let's start connecting this H and K to the letters that we already know. Okay, so let's see. Let's just do some nonsense words. Oh, actually, I've thought of a real word. How about the word heel, as in the heel of your foot? That's H-E-E-L. So we point to that bottom line, we glide up to the top line, loop and go straight down to the bottom, trace back up, make a hill, Now I glide right up to the middle line for my E, loop back down to the bottom, glide right up for my next one, loop back down to the bottom. Now my L, I go all the way to the top, loop back down, and make my tail. That's the word heel. I could also do the word keel, right? Point to the bottom, glide up to the top, go straight down to the bottom, trace back up, kick in and out, glide right up into my first E to that middle line, loop back, glide right up for my next line and loop back, E and loop back. Now all the way to the top line for my L, loop back and make a tail. Make sure that you're going all the way to the middle line and all the way to the top line. No cheating. Let's try the word elk. Point to that bottom line, glide up to the middle to make an E, loop back down to the bottom. Now glide all the way to the top for the letter L, loop back down to the bottom. Glide all the way back to the top line, go straight on down, trace back up, kick in and out to make a K. Think of other words. They can be real words or nonsense words, and just practice, practice, practice as much as you can.